Maria sat at her small desk, the morning sun painting golden stripes across her notebook. She felt a quiet ache in her chest as she opened her laptop. A video call window glowed empty. Her best friend Ethan had moved to another country just last week. Every message between them carried a small weight of loss. Maria missed the easy laughter they shared, the way he would finish her sentences. Now, distance stretched between them like a vast, empty sky. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Humanity faced enormous challenges among the stars, she thought. But even on Earth, the simplest bonds could feel like galaxies apart. Each day after school, Maria would walk to the old oak tree in the park. It was their secret meeting place. She imagined Ethan sitting on the low branch, swinging his legs, telling her about the new school. Instead, she found only crisp leaves on the ground and a cold breeze in her hair. She pressed her palm against the bark and whispered, "I wish you were here." A squirrel darted away, and Maria smiled at its boldness. If a tiny creature could face the world with courage, maybe she could too. But every step home felt heavier than the last. That night, Maria reached for her phone with shaky fingers. She typed a message, "Hey, how are you?" Then she deleted it. She tried again, "I miss you." She stared at the words until her finger hovered over send. Doubt crept in. Would that make him feel guilty? Would he think she was weak? She remembered how he always told her that humans grow stronger when they help each other. Still, the fear of awkward silence held her back. She locked the screen and tucked the phone under her pillow. In the quiet hours before dawn, Maria's mind buzzed with ideas. She could record a video diary of her day and send it to Ethan. She could draw a comic strip of their favorite memories. Maybe she could learn his new language and surprise him with a greeting in his own words. Each thought filled her with a small spark of excitement. She remembered the resilience of people who faced impossible odds in space, building new homes. Among distant stars, if they could adapt and thrive, she could find a way to bridge this one gap. After breakfast, Maria gathered her art supplies. She sketched the oak tree with bright green leaves and added 2 stick figures high in its branches. One figure waved, the other held a speech bubble with the words "together soon." She colored the sky in warm orange, hoping to share a sunrise feeling. When she finished, she carefully folded the drawing and slipped it into an envelope. She wrote Ethan's address in neat block letters, her heart drumming with hope. Then she paused. Would snail mail take too long? Would the drawing arrive at all? Just then, her mother knocked and peeked inside. "What are you up to, sweetie?" she asked. Maria hesitated, then showed her the envelope. Her mother smiled gently. "That's wonderful. You're reaching out with your heart," she helped. Maria added stamps and guided her to the mailbox. Maria felt a small thrill as she dropped the letter through the slot. It made a satisfying clink. She closed her eyes and imagined Ethan opening it, reading her words and smiling across the miles. The thought of that moment gave her unexpected strength. Back at home, Maria set up her webcam. She pressed record and began speaking. Her day. How she planted seeds in her window garden. How she baked cookies shaped like stars, and how much she missed their late-night phone calls. She laughed as she imitated his silly dance moves. The recording ended with a promise. "I'll keep trying until you feel as close as ever." She saved the file and sent it as an email attachment. Her finger trembled over the send button, but she clicked it anyway. A gentle chime confirmed it was on its way. For the rest of the afternoon, Maria waited. Every sound from her laptop made her heart race. Finally, a new message arrived. She opened it and found a short video from Ethan. He held up her drawing, smiling as sunlight danced behind him. Spoke in his new language, stumbling over the words, then switched to English. This made my day. "I miss you too." His grin was wide and genuine. Maria's eyes filled with happy tears. She realized that even when they were far apart, they could find ways to connect. Humanity's spirit, she thought, shines brightest when people refuse to give in to distance. That evening, Maria placed her phone on her desk and opened a blank page in her notebook. She wrote a letter to Ethan, planning her next idea to stay close. The ink flowed freely, filled with hope and determination. Outside, Stars blinked in the dark sky. Maria believed that no matter how far a person travels, the bond between caring hearts could guide them home. With a gentle smile, she whispered, "We'll bridge this distance together." And in that moment, she felt the strength of humanity's best quality, the hope that never fades. Maria woke before sunrise, her heart stirring with both excitement and nerves. Today, she planned her first live stream event to connect with Ethan and their friends across the ocean. She had spent the past week learning how to set up a virtual hangout, mastering screen sharing, and digital whiteboards. As she sipped her tea, she thought of humanity's way of adapting to new challenges of explorers on distant planets, found ways to stay in touch. If they could build communities light years apart, she knew she could make this work. She set up her laptop on the kitchen table, draping fairy lights around it to create a warm glow. On the screen, she arranged little windows for video chats, and a canvas area for shared drawings. When it was ready, she sent out invites, a clever image of two hands reaching through a starry portal, with the words "Hope" across the stars. Her finger hovered over the send button. Doubt crept in, what if no one joined? But she remembered how humans faced uncertainty with bold ideas. She clicked send, sealing her promise to try. While waiting for responses, Maria prepared small surprises. She baked star-shaped cookies and packed them into 2 containers, one for her family and one to photograph and send to Ethan. She wrote a short poem about memories under the old oak tree and practiced reading it aloud. Each task warmed her spirits and gave her a sense of purpose. In her mind, she pictured explorers on new worlds using holograms to share meals with Earth families. Her own small event would be no less meaningful. A chime echoed through the room. Ethan had accepted, and came 2 more, friends from her hometown and a classmate from abroad. Soon, 6 faces beamed at her from the screen. Maria's stomach fluttered, but she smiled and waved. The glow from her fairy lights reflected in their eyes. For a moment, the distance of thousands of miles felt like a thin veil. She realized that humans loved each other enough to invent ways to bridge any gap. "Welcome, everyone," she greeted, in simple, cheerful tones. "Thank you for joining my first Hope Across the Stars event." She clicked to share her screen, revealing a drawing of the oak tree under sunset colors. "This is where Ethan and I used to meet. I want us to build a new memory tonight." A soft guitar melody played from her phone. As the notes floated, her friends nodded, smiling at the image. The tone shifted from sadness to anticipation. Maria invited each participant to share a memory of times they felt close, despite distance. Liam spoke of messaging his grandmother every morning before work. Aisha recalled teaching her little brother to draw via video chat. Ethan chimed in from his new home. He had built a miniature model of their oak tree to remind him of their talks. Their stories wove together like threads in a tapestry, each reminding Maria that human hearts always find connection. Next, she opened the virtual whiteboard and invited everyone to draw something that represented home. Ethan sketched the oak tree, surrounded by green fields. Liam drew 2 hands shaking under a rainbow. Aisha added small planets orbiting a star. Maria paused at her turn. She drew a bridge spanning to cliffs, with people walking across. She labeled it together. When she finished, she felt a surge of hope. They might be far apart, but they were building bridges with every click. As the meeting grew warm with laughter, Maria shared her poem. Her voice trembled at first, but she found strength in the supportive faces on the screen. She read, "In whispered winds, our voices sing, across the void where heartbeats ring. We plant our dreams in distant lands, yet reach for hope with open hands." Her words hung in the digital air, and a moment of silence followed. Then Ethan clapped, smiling as tears shimmered in his eyes. The others joined, their applause sounding like distant thunder. Maria felt a pride that surpassed any fear. She had created a space where hearts could meet, proving that human creativity shines brightest in adversity. Before closing, Maria suggested they agree on a regular schedule for these meets. They all nodded eagerly, sharing ideas for themes: cooking together, stargazing nights, book club talks. Each suggestion built on the last, like a colony growing stronger with each new member. As they said goodnight, Maria promised to send everyone a care package, a small jar of her homemade cookie crumbs, and a handwritten note of encouragement. After the call ended, Maria sat quietly for a moment, staring at the empty windows on her screen. She wrapped her arms around herself, feeling both warmth and exhaustion. She thought of humanity's spirit on Mars bases and lunar stations people, far from home, who wrote letters and held streams to feel connected. Tonight, she had done the same on a smaller scale, and her heart felt fuller. She packed away her laptop and disconnected the fairy lights, but the glow remained inside her. Maria knew that even though Ethan lived far away, their bond could grow, stronger through shared moments and creative efforts. With hope guiding her, she believed that no distance could dim the light of caring hearts. As she climbed into bed, Maria whispered into the darkness, "We are together, always." A lone star blinked back at her, a silent promise of tomorrow's possibilities. Maria woke with a start, her mind buzzing with a new idea. The day before her video chat hangout had been a bright success, but she still felt a quiet loneliness afterward. Today, she wanted to create something lasting, a shared project that Ethan and she could build together, even across the miles. She remembered how humans on space stations cooperated on complex research, sending data packets back and forth until breakthroughs emerged. If they could coordinate on zero-gravity experiments, she could certainly work with Ethan on a digital story they both loved. After breakfast, Maria opened her notebook and drew two simple icons, one of a pen, one of a keyboard. Underneath, she wrote our story. She imagined a branching tale they could write together, chapters that alternated between her words and his. Each chapter would end on a cliffhanger, giving the other a chance to surprise. Her heart raced. It felt like building a bridge out of words. She knew that human creativity thrived on collaboration, whether engineers designing habitats on Mars or artists painting murals on Earth. She typed an email to Ethan. "Let's write a story together. I'll start with the first chapter then. You add the next. You can go back and forth until it's complete." She attached her outline and hit send. As she watched the message leave her outbox, a small thrill fluttered in her chest. She pictured Ethan's reaction. Maybe he'd laugh. Maybe he'd be curious. Either way, they would be working towards something meaningful. She closed her laptop and decided to draft the first chapter right away. Maria settled under the oak tree in the park, her notebook balanced on her knees. She wrote in simple, clear sentences. Yara stood on the deck of the Starship Horizon, staring at worlds she had never seen. She dreamed of home, but she knew her people needed her here. A sudden alarm rang, and she rushed to the bridge. There the captain smiled and said, "You lead us next." She paused and read the lines aloud. A breeze rustled the leaves, as if urging her on. She carefully closed her notebook and scanned the page into her tablet. Back home, Maria added the scanned chapter to a shared folder she'd created online. She titled it Chapter 1, The Call of Stars. Then she drafted a friendly note. "Your turn, Ethan. What happens next?" She attached an image of the oak tree in the header. Then, before she could second-guess herself, she clicked share. The screen showed the folder URL and a checkmark confirming her upload. In that moment, she felt her heart lighten. Even if Ethan was half a world away, they were in this. Together, during the day, Maria went about her usual tasks, homework, chores, helping her little brother with reading. But her thoughts kept drifting back to their story. She imagined Ethan's words adding surprising twists, secret codes in ancient texts, daring rescues on moonlit beaches, moments of quiet friendship under alien suns. Each idea filled her with hope. She thought of explorers on distant worlds, who maintained morale by telling tales around communal fire pits. Their stories had kept them strong. Her own tale could do the same. Late afternoon brought a notification. Ethan had added Chapter 2. Maria's pulse quickened as she opened the document. His writing flowed in simple, earnest lines. Yara traced her fingers over a holographic map. The signal she detected came from a lost colony people like her, waiting for help. She gathered a small team and set a course through uncharted space. Maria grinned. His chapter ended with a sudden power failure on the ship, leaving readers in suspense. She leaned back, imagining the darkness enveloping Yara's crew. That evening, Maria sat at her desk and began writing Chapter 3. She described how Yara's heart pounded in the dim corridors as emergency lights flickered on. She showed the crew's calm ingenuity, using magnetic boots to navigate twisting passageways. Rerouting power through old conduits, she typed. Maria felt connected to Ethan, as if they were co-pilots exploring the void. She added a hint of danger, but focused on the crew's cooperation and hope. By the time she finished, she felt proud of their story and of herself for reaching out. Before sending her chapter, Maria paused to add a note. I love how you introduced the colony. I'll explore their story next. She uploaded the file, then closed her eyes and breathed deeply. She thought of humanity's resilience, how people on Earth had built bridges over storm-scarred rivers, how astronauts on the International Space Station had maintained peace through careful communication. She realized that her own small act of sharing stories was part of that larger human tradition of connection. As Maria turned off her lamp and slipped into bed, her heart felt light. She had found a way to reach across the distance, through imagination, creativity, and the simple act of writing together. The story they were weaving would be more than a tale of a starship. It would be a testament to their friendship and to the power of human hope. With a smile, she whispered to the dark room, "Tomorrow we'll write more." And in that promise, she felt the true spirit of HFY humanity, together even when apart, always finding hope in the stars. Maria stood by her bedroom window, watching the rain fall in soft sheets against the glass. She held her phone tight, thinking of Ethan's last message. He had shared Chapter 3 of their story, and it ended with Yara facing a storm of debris. In deep space, Maria felt proud, but beneath her pride lay a hollow ache. Even as they built worlds together in words, the real distance between them remained. She missed his laugh, the way he teased her gently, and their long walks beneath the oak tree. Tonight, she promised herself she would find a new way to bridge that gap. After dinner, Maria gathered her supplies on the kitchen table, colored papers, scissors, glue, and markers. She remembered how humans on new colonies celebrated by creating art-bright flags and banners that flew in zero-gravity halls. If people light years away could make art to feel at home, she could make something meaningful for Ethan here. She cut a large piece of cardstock into the shape of a star and wrote "Guiding Light" in bold letters. Around it, she planned to stick small drawings of moments they shared. She worked by the glow of her desk lamp. First, she carefully traced the outline of her favorite photo, herself and Ethan under the old oak tree, arms over each other's shoulders, smiling at the camera. She colored it with bright pencils, giving the sky a soft pink hue of evening sunset. Then she added little sketches, the video call scene with fairy light frames, the cookies shaped like stars, their story's starship horizon. Each image held a memory of hope and togetherness. As she glued each piece, Maria whispered, "We're stronger together," letting the words guide her hand. When the collage was nearly complete, Maria added a final touch, a small LED light. Taped behind the star's center, she connected it to a tiny battery pack, tested it, and blinked soft white light pulsed in time with her heartbeat. She smiled at the gentle glow. Even in darkness, a single point of light could guide the way. That was humanity's strength, she thought, finding light when all seemed dim. She put the collage in a sturdy envelope and wrote a note. "For the night you miss home, let this remind you that you are my guiding light." The next morning, Maria dropped her art in the mailbox, watching it disappear with a soft thud. Then she turned to her laptop to plan another surprise. She had noticed an online contest for creative collaborations teams could submit multimedia projects and win a feature on a global platform. The winning entries would be viewed by millions. Maria sent Ethan a message. "Want to join me in the Galactic Arts Contest? You could mix your chapters with my art." She attached a link to the rules. Her heart hammered as she pressed send. This time she felt both excited and nervous. What if they did not win? What if their teamwork fell short? That afternoon, Maria went to the park with her sketchbook. The oak tree's branches swayed, leaves dripping with fresh rain. She sat on the grass, breathing in the earthy scent, and imagined Ethan by her side. She sketched contest ideas, a short animated video blending her drawings with his story text. She noted down music ideas, soft piano melodies that matched Yara's journey through the storm. Each idea lit a spark. In her mind, she thought of Earth's explorers sending songs and poems to Mars' settlers, keeping spirits high across the void. Their creativity made distance smaller. Back at home, Maria created a shared online folder titled Galactic Arts Project. She uploaded photos of her collage, scans of her sketches, and her initial script outline. She wrote in the project description, Episode 1, The Guiding Light, and explained how the video would start with the glowing star, then transition into the starship horizon facing the storm. She clicked share and sent the link to Ethan. With a note, "Let's build this together, will you?" Within minutes, a notification popped up. Ethan had joined the folder. He left a comment, "I love Guiding Light. I'll write episode 2 script tonight." Maria's chest swelled with joy. The contest deadline was 2 weeks away, plenty of time to create something wonderful. She scheduled video calls with Ethan to plan scenes and share designs. She messaged their friends, inviting them to contribute music, voice acting, and even simple animations. The response was enthusiastic. 3 classmates offered to help compose music, and 2 other friends wanted to voice Yara and her captain. Maria realized that by reaching out, she had invited a community into their project. Humanity thrived in collaboration, across distances and differences. That evening, Maria set up her laptop beneath the oak tree for another video call. As rain fell softly around her, the fairy lights above the screen glowed bright. Ethan appeared, smiling through the screen's reflection. Together they sketched storyboards, laughing when a character's pose looked too stiff, breathing life into their shared vision. In that moment, Maria felt the distance melt away. They were partners, co-creators, forging a new path for their friendship. She remembered why she began this journey, to reconnect with someone she loved. Now she knew how through creativity, hope, and the human spirit that never gives up. When the call ended, Maria quietly packed her things. The oak tree stood silent, but she felt its steady presence under her fingertips. She whispered into the night, "Will shine across any distance." Then she walked home, heart light with purpose. In her pocket, the collage's lead star pulsed softly, a promise that no matter how far apart they were, their guiding lights would always lead them back to each other. Maria woke to the sound of her phone buzzing on the nightstand. She reached over and saw a message from Ethan. "I loved your storyboard ideas. The music is amazing." Her heart fluttered. For the first time in days, she felt truly connected. Yet beneath her excitement, a small knot of doubt remained. They had made progress on their Galactic Arts project, but she wondered if that was enough to keep their friendship strong. Distance still stretched between them like a silent ocean. After breakfast, Maria decided to call her grandmother, who had once lived abroad for many years. Over steaming cups of tea, her grandmother told stories of letters she wrote every week, postcards painted in bright colors, and of radio shows she hosted so her family could hear her voice. "Distance can teach us new ways to speak from the heart," her grandmother said. Maria listened closely. She realized that people had bridged oceans and deserts long before the internet existed. If they could find creative ways, so could she and Ethan. Maria spent the rest of the morning gathering supplies. She found colored pens, sticky notes, and small printed photos of their past adventures. Visual collage they could both contribute to, with messages of encouragement floating like stars. She cut strips of paper into star shapes and wrote prompts on each one. "A memory I treasure, a future dream, a song that makes me smile." She placed them in a small wooden box, decorated with planets and comets. Then she wrapped the box in silver paper and tied it with a blue ribbon. That afternoon, Maria recorded a short video. She placed the wrapped box on her desk under a soft lamp. Light and spoke clearly into the camera. "Hi, Ethan. I made something special for you. It's a hope board box. Inside are stars with prompts. You pick one, write on it, and send me a photo." Then I'll pick one and send you mine. We'll fill the board together, no matter the distance. She smiled and held up the box. Are you in? She ended the recording and uploaded the file to their shared project folder. While her video uploaded, Maria set up her bedroom wall for the hope board. She taped up 5 blank sheets of paper in the shape of a star cluster. Around them, she drew tiny rocket ships and swirling galaxies. When the video finished, she sent Ethan a quick message. Check your folder. Can't wait to start our hope board. Then she waited, pacing the room. Her heart beat loudly, but she felt proud of her idea. In the evening, a reply arrived. Ethan wrote, I love it. I'm making my own box now. He sent a photo of his desk covered in colored paper and scissors. Maria grinned at the familiar scene, added, I'll send you my first star tomorrow, Maria texted back. Sounds perfect. Tonight I'll pick my first prompt and send you a picture. She paused before pressing send, then thought, why wait? She reached for the wooden box, pulled out a gold star, and read the prompt, a future dream. She wrote on the star, a world where friends can meet under real oak trees again. She snapped a photo of the star against the galaxy wall and emailed it to Ethan. The next morning, Maria awoke to find an email from Ethan with a photo of his first star. He had drawn a sunrise over a mountain and written, a future dream, visiting. The place where we first met, tears came to Maria's eyes. Their dreams matched in spirit a hope to return to a simpler time when distance did not matter. She printed his star and taped it below hers on the wall. The 2 stars shone side by side, despite oceans between them. That day at school, Maria could not concentrate on lessons. Every few minutes, she thought of the growing hope board. During lunch, she opened her notebook and sketched new star shapes, one for a joke that always makes me laugh. Another for a small kindness I will do today. She carefully wrote on each and added them to the wooden box. She imagined Ethan picking them one by one, sharing more of himself. Maria realized that each star was a thread weaving their hearts closer. After school, Maria returned to the park and sat beneath the oak tree. She held the wooden box in her lap and looked up at the leaves. The tree seemed to welcome her with soft rustling. She pulled out a green star prompt. A small kindness I will do today, she wrote quickly. Plant a flower seed for you in my garden. Then she pressed her palm against the bark and whispered, may it grow as our friendship does. She placed the star back in the box and closed her eyes, imagining the future blooms. That evening, Maria logged onto their shared folder to find a new image from Ethan. He had drawn a small sprout pushing through soil with a tiny label, planting hope. Maria's heart swelled. She knew then that their efforts were working. Through art, stories, and simple acts of kindness, they found ways to stand together even when they were apart. Maria added Ethan's sprout drawing to her wall. Next to their dreams, under the oak tree, the cluster of stars and drawings glowed under her desk light, filling the room with warmth. She felt a surge of hope and human HFY, humanity, forging bonds stronger than any distance. She whispered to the silent room, we are never truly apart. And as she drifted to sleep, the stars on her wall shimmered, promising more connections, more shared moments, and a future when friends would stand together under real skies once again. Maria woke early, with her heart beating fast. Today she and Ethan would put the finishing touches on their Galactic Arts project. The past week, they had written chapters of their shared story, made art, and built a hope board. Now they needed to combine everything into one short video. Maria dressed quickly and carried her laptop to the kitchen table. She remembered how people on moon colonies worked together by sending data and art back and forth. If they could finish big science missions across miles of space, she knew she could finish this video for her friend. She opened her project folder and watched the rough cut of their video. It began with the glowing star collage, then showed snippets of Yara on the ship horizon, facing storms and finding hope. Next came the hope board stars, with their hand-drawn messages and photos. Maria smiled as her grandmother's advice echoed in her mind. Speak from the heart. She realized this project was not about winning a contest. It was about sharing hope and connection with Ethan. She felt a warmth fill her chest. Their friendship shone brighter than any award. Carefully, Maria added soft piano music to the videos. Background. Her classmates had composed it, and it made her eyes mist up with pride. Then she trimmed each scene so the video flowed smoothly. She adjusted the timing of the scrolling text for Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, making sure viewers could read and feel the story. She watched the preview 10 times, pausing to imagine Ethan's reaction. Would he see the same warmth in every frame? She hoped so. Humanity's strength was its caring spirit, and she wanted him to feel that spirit. Just as Maria prepared to export the final file, her phone buzzed. It was Ethan. "I added the closing scene. Check your folder now." Maria clicked out of her editing software and opened the shared drive. There was a new clip. Yara stepping onto a lush planet surrounded by friends from every world. Text overlay read together, "We light the way." The scene ended with their oak tree drawing glowing under the night sky. Maria felt tears fill her eyes. Ethan had brought their story home. She imported his clip into the project, placed it at the end, and watched the full video from start to finish. The final video ran for 3 minutes. It told a small tale of courage and friendship and wove in Maria and Ethan's real bond. When the closing text appeared, "For every heart even far apart, we find a path together," Maria knew it was complete. She exported the file and uploaded it to the contest site. As the progress bar moved, she closed her eyes and took a deep breath. This felt like the moment when a space probe finally reached its target after years of travel. All the small efforts, the late nights, the shared dreams, had led here. Later that afternoon, Maria received confirmation. Their entry was successful. She jumped up and down, unable to contain her joy. She messaged Ethan. "We did it." Replied instantly, "Best team ever." They laughed through text, sharing emojis of rockets and stars. Maria realized that even if they never won the contest, they had already achieved something greater. They had turned sadness into hope. They had built a bridge across continents using words, art, and simple acts of kindness. That was true HFY, humanity shining bright in adversity. That evening, Maria set up her laptop beneath the oak tree. More time, she and Ethan agreed to watch the contest showcase together. She draped fairy lights around her computer and sat on her favorite blanket. When the showcase began, she saw videos from teams all over the world. Each story was different, but hers stood out because of the genuine warmth between its creators. The announcer highlighted their project. A beautiful collaboration of art and story that reminds us how humans connect. Maria's heart swelled with pride. She saw Ethan wave through his own screen, his smile as bright as the lights around her. After the showcase ended, Maria and Ethan stayed online, talking late into the night. They shared their favorite moments. From the video and planned future projects, maybe a podcast or a zine featuring stories from friends in many countries, Maria felt her sadness melt away. She realized that distance had taught her new ways to care deeply and reach out. Humanity's spirit, she thought, was strongest when people refused to let miles divide their hearts. Before falling asleep, Maria looked at the oak tree outside her window and whispered, "Thank you." The leaves rustled softly as if in answer. She turned off her lamp and closed her eyes, comforted by the memory of shared laughter and creative triumph, no matter where Ethan lived now. They could always find ways to connect. With hope guiding her, Maria believed that their friendship would continue to grow, reaching farther than any distance. And in her dreams, she saw Yara and her crew stepping onto new worlds, hand in hand. Just like she and Ethan had done through their story. Maria woke to the soft hum of her computer. Today was the day she would finally see Ethan in person. He had surprised her with plane tickets after months of planning their long-distance project. When he sent the email, Maria's heart had leaped, like a spark against dry wood. Now, with each click, she watched a countdown, only hours until their reunion under the old oak tree. She dressed carefully in a simple blue dress, the same shade as the sky in her drawing of their guiding light, Star. As she brushed her hair, she felt a flutter of nerves. Even after all they had shared stories, art, videos, nothing could capture the magic of being together again. It reminded her of humanity's first steps on the moon. No matter how much you've prepared, nothing replaces the real moment. At the airport, Maria held her breath when Ethan emerged from the gate, carried a small backpack, and wore his favorite green jacket. Their eyes met, and time seemed to slow. Maria's sadness of the past months dissolved instantly, ran forward, and they embraced under the bright terminal lights. "I missed you so much," Maria whispered. Ethan pulled back, smiling wide. "I missed you too," he replied, his voice steady with joy. They rode the shuttle together to the city where they grew up. Through the window, Maria pointed out buildings they once painted in their videos and streets where they chased fireflies. At dusk, each sight brought back laughter and warmth. Ethan reached for her hand, and she felt electricity at his touch. She realized that no distance could erase the bond they had built. When the shuttle stopped at the park entrance, Maria's heart raced again. They walked side by side toward the old oak tree. In her mind, she replayed their story chapters. Yara facing storms, the hope board shining with stars. Now it was real. The oak's branches reached above them like familiar arms. Maria placed her palm on the bark, and Ethan did the same. Stood silent, sharing a moment older than words. Maria reached into her bag and pulled out the glowing star collage. Its lead light blinked softly. "God, I've kept this safe," she said, holding it between them. Ethan smiled and lifted the wooden box of hope board stars. "Me too," he said. Together, they opened the box and read the prompts one last time. Memories, dreams, small kindnesses. They laughed, recalling each message, and placed the stars around the tree's roots. As dusk fell, Maria and Ethan spread a blanket and sat back to watch fireflies dance. Maria reached over and squeezed Ethan's hand. "I was so afraid we would grow apart," she confessed. Ethan shook his head gently. "Distance taught us to care in new ways," he said. "We learned that when hearts stay open, no miles can break the bond." Maria nodded, her eyes shining. They shared a simple picnic, sandwiches shaped like stars, cookies they baked over video calls, and sparkling lemonade. Each bite tasted sweeter under the twilight sky. Maria felt the warmth of humanity's greatest gift, connection. She thought of explorers on distant planets sending messages home, and realized their own journey had mirrored that courage and hope. After eating, Ethan pulled a small notebook from his pocket, a brand new copy of their shared story. Cover was decorated with their drawings: Yara on the horizon, the guiding light star, the oak tree under alien skies. Ethan handed it to Maria. "We finished our story," he said softly, "but this is only the beginning." Maria opened the notebook and saw blank pages waiting for new chapters. They spent the next hour writing together beneath the tree. Maria penned the final lines. Yara and her crew stepped onto new worlds, hand in hand, light guiding their way. Ethan wrote below, "And with courage and hope, humanity's story continues, together." They looked at each other and smiled, knowing they had captured their own experience in those words. When the night deepened, they packed up their things and walked home under a sky full of real stars. Maria felt the earth beneath her feet and the steady beat of Ethan's hand in hers. The ache of distance was gone. In its place was gratitude for the long journey they had taken and the promise of all journeys to come. At Maria's front door, they paused. Neither wanted the night to end. Maria leaned forward and kissed Ethan gently. "Thank you for coming," she whispered. Ethan held her close. "Thank you for waiting," he replied. Inside, Maria turned on her lamp and placed the notebook on her desk. The oak tree drawing still glowed softly on the wall, surrounded by stars and hope. As Maria climbed into bed, she felt peace settle around her. She thought of humanity's journeys across oceans, deserts, and galaxies and smiled. Tonight, she and Ethan had added their own story to that grand tapestry. No matter where they traveled next, they would carry each other in their hearts. And in the quiet dark, Maria whispered one last time, "Together we shine."